Hello, welcome back. So today you're propped up in my cabinet in my kitchen because I really all day planned to make a video, and then I got home, realized that I needed to run to the grocery store. I had other things going on today. So I figured I would just make a video and also do a little cook with me, which I know people have been interested in. I was supposed to do a biscuit video. Anyway, so long story short, I cook 2 to 3 times a week for a family in town. They have 2 little girls, 2 and 4. They are the least picky children I've ever encountered in my entire life. The only thing they won't eat is lima beans. Basically, I cook for them the night before, and then I bring it to them in Tupperware with instructions for how to finish it at home, and then they'll eat it tomorrow night. So the menu for tomorrow is going to be a hanger steak salad. And it's called that because typically I would use a hanger steak, but thanks COVID, beef is a little bit scarce, so I'm making it with flank steak. You could also make it with skirt steak, or really your favorite kind of steak. So it's a salad. It's going to have baby greens, little grape tomatoes, fresh mozzarella, avocados, roasted beets, which were like fully a request. These little girls love roasted beets. I've never met a 2-year-old or a 4-year-old. Hell, I don't even know a grown person that really likes beets. But, and then it's going to have a rosemary balsamic vinaigrette. So I figured what I would do is kind of talk to you about tarot things and just some stuff that's been on my mind, and then I'll do that while I'm prepping, and then towards the end of the video I can just like walk you through kind of loosely how to make the dressing, that kind of thing. This could be a complete clusterfuck. This might be fun. This might be great. I may never do this again. You may not even see this video. We'll see. So for starters, I'm gonna begin with the beets because they take the longest. And I already have the steak sitting with the seasoning and some olive oil, kind of coming to room temperature because it just tends to cook better that way. So for the beets, all I'm gonna do is cut off this little bit and the greenery part. So you end up with something like this. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'm going to wrap them in foil and roast them in a 400-degree oven for probably about an hour. These are pretty big beets. So what I was thinking about is being in the quote-unquote tarot closet, or, you know, kind of doing tarot more privately, secretly, not sharing it with a lot of people around. And I think what really gets me about it is that I share pretty much everything with my parents and with my brother. My brother is he just turned 26. I will be 30. I really hate saying that. I'll be 30 in July, so we're like 3.5 years apart, give or take a little. We're very close. And my parents, I pretty much consult with for everything. Anytime I have to make a major life decision, I'm like, I'm 30. But for some reason, I just feel more comfortable if I talk to them about it first, it's not always like to do what they say I should do or anything like that, but it is nice to get their opinion, and to be totally honest, they have never steered me wrong thus far. So it really bums me out that they don't know that I have a tarot collection. They don't, it's all in I keep all my decks in their own little cabinet, and so, I've never had an instance where they had to see them, or they could see them. And I guess I should give you a little bit of background on me and the situation. So, I was raised Catholic. I went to Catholic school my entire life, pre-K through graduation, senior year. And I did that with the same people. It was a class of... Sorry about the noise. It was a class of 27. Just putting my beets on a sheet pan. Now I'm going to throw them in the oven. So it was a class of 27, and I was raised Catholic again, like I said. But I'm only 40 minutes away from New Orleans, so there's a lot of history here of voodoo, hoodoo. If you go to Jackson Square in the French Quarter, there's tarot readers everywhere. So, tarot is not unfamiliar, and it's not, foreign, and it's not, weird. We all have been around it our whole lives. So, and I should also say, my parents are not, uber conservative when it comes to really anything, honestly. They're really supportive, and they're just really supportive of anything I want to try or I want to do. Now I'm cutting up an onion that I'm going to saute, and that's going to be part of the dressing. So I don't really have a reason to think that they would be unsupportive of this. And in fact, some of my tarot decks I have because they remind me of my parents. I love all of the vintage Albano weight decks, and I think a big part of why I even bought my first one is that the deck came out in 1968, and that is the year that my mom was born. So that deck is kind of special to me just because of that. It's one of my favorite decks anyway. The coloration is gorgeous. But that deck in particular is important to me for that reason. And then, the university books came out in 1960. But I have the third edition. I have a few editions of it, but one of those decks came out around 1962, which is when my dad was born. So I just have I have favorites and things based off of my parents. So I can't tell you how many times I have packed my car with tarot decks because, they don't know all about the different decks. So, if I were to tell them, oh, I got a Blushing Fool, they would have no idea what I was talking about. So, I can't tell you how many times I've packed up decks, a little lineage of decks, to show them the progression of, the decks that I collect, why I collect them, why they're historically important to tarot. So that I could explain to them, why I love it as much as I do, why the art is important to me. And every time I almost get there, or I do get there, and I leave the bag of decks in my car, and I don't bring it in, and I don't show them, and I don't talk to them. And my dad, in particular, I think I got the collecting bug from him. He is so cool. He collects Jordan tennis shoes, which is like the opposite of what you would imagine him collecting. But I mean, he can tell you literally everything about every kind. Like, I know because I've tried to get him pairs before that he cannot stand the Jordan 13s. He is not a big fan of the Jordan, like, 3s and 4s. He really loves the 7s and the 6s and the 1s. So, I know that he would be interested in, like, he might not be interested in the whole idea of tarot decks and collecting them, but I know he would love to know about, like, the different editions that I have, and, like, which ones came first, how they changed. Like, that kind of thing is right up his alley. So even if he's not fully on board with, like, reading tarot or that kind of thing, he, at the very least, I think, would love to hear about, like, how I acquire them, like, how I search eBay and find them and buy them, because he does all the same things that I do, except he does them for shoes. And so it's like a missed opportunity for us to share something that we both love. Like, it's different, but not different at the same time. And, like, recently I got this tarot wheel, the Frankie Albano tarot wheel, and it came in, and, like, the first thing I thought was, oh, I can't wait to show my parents. And then I thought, but, like, that's going to be so awkward. I've never even told them that I like tarot. So I have, you know, this amazing, really hard to find, rare, but, like, in amazing condition piece of history that, like, normally, if it were anything else, I would have told them the minute I knew that I wanted. Like, I wouldn't have even waited. But for some reason, I just cannot bring myself to do it. And it doesn't make sense. Like, I know it's all in my head. I know it's me that's holding myself back. It isn't that I'm worried that they're going to be, you know, disapproving or anything like that. I'm just like, I don't know why. I just cannot bring myself to do it. So I guess this is a little deeper than I thought I was going to be, but I guess, you know, this is how I feel, so I might as well share it. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. My brother, I don't think, would be, like, into it. I don't think he would care either way. He is, like, he used to be the most materialistic person I've ever met. He used to love to work and spend money and buy really nice luxury things. Lots of, like, really lovely Hermes ties and, like, Gucci belts and wallets and things. And then, now he has a daughter, and that stuff's not important to him anymore. But he is, like, so laid back now. I mean, it's amazing. It's great. He used to be, like, so uptight, and I don't know. He's just very different, but different in the best way. But this is not his thing, and it's not a thing that I think he would care about any part of. But I also don't think that it would bother him, or that he would care that I do it, or that I care about it, or that I had it. Which is honestly, like, perfectly fine. Like, I don't need everybody to be, like, overly excited about all of the decks like I am. Hell, my husband Josh doesn't really, I mean, he's gotten to the point where he'll look at a deck when it comes in and be like, oh, that's awesome, that's cool, ooh, this one's different, ooh, I like this one. But, like, if I didn't have a single deck and I sold them all, he wouldn't care at all. And I think that that's fine and normal, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. The closest I've ever gotten to bringing the cards over, that's funny how I keep reaching right behind you to get all the stuff that I need. The closest I've ever gotten to bringing it was this past weekend, right before Terrathon, and it was like, I think it really had something to do with that. Like, it was something important to me and something I was proud to do in my life, and it was weird not to share it. And I don't know, it made me feel kind of guilty about not. So who knows, maybe one day I'll tell them all about this whole channel and this whole little, I mean, like, I've made so many great friends, and I talk to people on the phone and stuff all the time, and people all over the whole world, and I don't, like, it's getting harder and harder to, like, keep that part private, because, like, I'm getting closer and closer to people, and, you know, it's tough, like, not sharing it. So, I guess, I'm sure one day I will. It'll probably be sooner than I think, but I don't know. Maybe if y'all have any opinions, or, you know, maybe you could leave comments below sharing how you told the people in your life. Maybe you're lucky and you didn't ever need to because it didn't matter and you just always did it and nobody cared. And maybe, like, I feel like part of me feels like I might just not be ready to share that, and I think that's okay too. Like, I don't think that, I don't know. I feel like I'll get to a point where I know that I'm ready to talk to my parents about it and share it with them, and they'll love it, and I'll love that they love it, and we'll share it, and I'll text them every time that I find an amazing deck. I probably won't do that because, like, they don't need to know every time, just like Josh doesn't really need to know every time, because, like, sometimes it's more than I even would like to admit. Yeah, so that's really all I really wanted to talk about today. And I think it'll be a fun little conversation. It'll be fun to hear from other people, you know, what y'all think and all of that. I guess what I'm going to do, because this is going to be kind of a loud process, is I'm going to get the onions and garlic. I chopped up 2 cloves of garlic. I'm going to get that sautéed and kind of caramelized, and then I will return and figure out how to show you how to make the vinaigrette dressing, because it's super easy, and I am doing it with rosemary, but typically I don't use rosemary in it, and it's a fantastic dressing. It's like slightly sweet, a little tangy. It's not like, it's like creamy without being like mayo-y or anything like that. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just saute the onions, and I'll be right back. Alright, so now we can go ahead and make the dressing. So this balsamic is definitely one of my favorite dressings that I make. It's great on roasted vegetables. It's good with grilled chicken. It's fantastic in any salad, really. And this particular version, when I add the rosemary, even though it's not really a ton, it's probably like a tablespoon max. There's just something about it. It has honey in it. It's got Dijon mustard in it. It has a couple of different kinds of vinegar. It has olive oil. But it's all stuff that probably people have in their house already. And it's easy to make. It keeps for like 2, even 3 weeks probably. Yeah, so the real secret and most important part about the whole dressing is that the onions and garlic need to be like very well browned and caramelized. So that is going to go in to the food processor first. Don't stress if you don't have a food processor. It's not a huge deal. I have made it in a blender. I've made it with an immersion blender. It's definitely doable other ways. But you do need some sort of way to kind of grind it up. So basically you're just going to want to like caramelize the onions without the garlic because the garlic tends to burn a little quicker. So when the onions are almost done, you can drop in your garlic that's minced and kind of let that cook. And then as soon as you smell the garlic, just cut it off. And that's it. It's good enough. So basically you want to start with all of your like chunkier ingredients in first. So I have my onions and my rosemary and garlic. Then you want about a tablespoon or two, probably 2 tablespoons. I do this all the time, all day, every day, so I don't measure. I would recommend you measuring the first time that you make it, taste it, and then adjust from there. Like, add a little more of, if you think it's too tangy, add a little extra honey. If you think it's just too sweet for you, then, you don't have to add as much honey. If your balsamic vinegar is maybe a little on the cheap side, it's not like the best balsamic that, you can buy, honey is a great way to kind of camouflage that and make it taste a little more expensive. So basically, all I'm going to do at this point is turn it on. It's going to get loud, so I'm not going to try and explain while it's on. I have my vinegars. It's a little apple cider vinegar and a little balsamic. I'm doing apple cider, but typically I would use cane vinegar, which is a byproduct of the sugar making process. And since there's lots of sugarcane fields here and lots of sugar plants here because it grows really well in this area, cane vinegar is really readily available. And I really like that flavor. So typically I'll use that, but honestly, the apple cider vinegar is just fine. So I'm going to stream the vinegar in, and then I'm going to stream in the olive oils. It's equal parts olive oil and vegetable oil, and a little bit more vinegar. It's about a 1/4 cup more vinegar than oils. So, I'll put the recipe down below. So I'm going to get going with this and let you see kind of like the emulsion process and what it should look like. Okay, so after you let it go, almost forgot the most important, one of the most important. I add fresh cracked black pepper to everything. There's something about it. It's not the same as that little ground crap that you can get already done. and salt. Just a couple of pinches. Nothing crazy. It really needs the salt though because of all that oil. Alright. And then I want to give it a little taste. Yeah, perfect. Alright, you're back in my cabinet. So this salad I'm doing with spring mix. It would be great with any kind of leafy green. It would be great with kale. It would be great with just straight up baby spinach, romaine. I would steer clear of iceberg because to me iceberg only has one place when it comes to salads, and that's a wedge salad with blue cheese. Because it's so watery and crispy, it needs that kind of hefty, fatty, creamy dressing. And then basically the other components are the roasted beets, which when they come out of the oven, the skin is going to just slide right off. It'll be easy. I'm going to let them cool, and then I'll slice them up. I'll probably slice them into wedges. You could dice them up, cube them, however you want to do them is fine. So the salad will be that, the beets, I got little heirloom grape tomatoes, avocado, and then, oh yeah, I just got the little pearls. I think you can probably get this anywhere. I just got what was like easy and ready to go. Obviously, by all means, make your own cheese if you're like on a garden and feel like it. And then the steak, I personally would normally like to have it medium rare, ideally. And it's great to just serve the steak cold. It doesn't even need to be, it could just be room temperature, it's fine. So this is kind of a great make ahead kind of a thing. Yeah, so I guess this is a little less of a clusterfuck than I thought it was going to be, and it was fun, so maybe I'll do this again. Hope you liked it, and yeah, let me know how you feel about the Terra Closet, or about the salad, or if you think it's gross, or delicious, or let me know if you make it. I really would love to know if people ever make any of this. Alright, well, hope y'all doing great, and staying busy, or not staying busy, or doing whatever feels right to you.